Good morning, everyone, to all our audience. Good afternoon or good evening to all of you, an international audience. So we are going to start with our series of conferences about the South-South dialogues and traditional medicine. That will be the topic today, always related to sustainability. This dialogue of today is a joint effort between the movement, the people's health movement in different regions of the world, Latin America, Africa, Asia. Our colleagues today from the Global University for Sustainability from China will be joining us. We've actually made an agreement, a working agreement for these field of studies and for others. So today we're going to start our exchange with two very important presentations about traditional medicine, the experiences from Latin America, as well as the experiences from China. So this is a very important challenge for the world's populations, not only for the indigenous communities of each of our territories, but also for everyone, all the peoples of the world. The traditional medicines accumulate so much knowledge that is essential for the challenges that we are currently facing nowadays. Mainly the relations among human beings and the relations between the society and nature. So a lot of lessons to learn for all of us from the history of traditional medicine. First of all, why they were marginalized by the Eurocentric knowledge, modern Western knowledge, and capitalism as a system, which turned many of this knowledge into business and marginalized traditional medicine. However, the story that we are going to see now is not only from the point of view of the loss, but also from the point of view of resistance and resilience and overcoming the problems, staying focused on the traditional medicines. This effort will allow us to see how this knowledge that is all-encompassing, that is to say, it's not only focused on treatment for illnesses or disease, it's also for the prevention and promotion of health. So this knowledge is not only for human beings, it's for all beings who are alive on planet Earth. So this is an essential resource for humanity, and we would like to point that out during today's presentations. And together with this knowledge, I would like to point out the resources that this brings us. The people, the human beings who from the ancestral territories have been defending this knowledge. Same thing as medicine plants and their value historically and in the current times. This challenge is even greater because we are facing a huge ecologic crisis, climate change that is threatening the existence of life on planet Earth. So a lot of lessons that we can learn actually from traditional medicine will teach us how we can have a different kind of relationship between human beings and nature, a new way of thinking, a new way of acting, so necessary to avoid the catastrophe that we have ahead of us. In those practices, there are so many teachings, so many lessons. This is actually a philosophy of life. This is the praxis of life that leads us to a new emancipation facing the threats, not only economic threats, but also the cultural threats that we have ahead of us. Let's start then with this conference. We will be holding this conference on the 15th and on the 16th of November. So today and tomorrow, we will be sharing our experiences from the territories of the Abya Yala on the one hand, from Latin America and the Caribbean. So the presentation for that part, the presenter for that part, for all the experiences that we've gathered and that we tried to summarize in one presentation, will be our comrade Vivi Camacho Hinojosa. Then we will have the huge experience of China in terms of traditional medicine. I think that this is one of the best experiences of survival and sustainability and development of traditional medicine throughout the world. For that presentation, Jade Tsui will be joining us from the Southwestern University of China. That's today. Tomorrow, at the same time, we will have an exchange about traditional medicine among a group of colleagues from Africa and another group of colleagues from India. So this will be a very interesting roundtable of reflections, deep reflections about the meaning of our traditional medicines. Let me introduce then this session by identifying, first of all, who we are, so that you can have an idea of the efforts that we've been doing in the last few years. My name is Román Vega. I'm a surgeon and a doctor. I have a master's degree in health and social security administration and a PhD in health administration and policies. For many, many years, I've been a defender of the social rights of the peoples. I was also a professor, a teacher in health administration, public health, and social and human sciences until I retired. I was a researcher as well in this field. I've also worked in the city of Bogotá for a long time, and currently, and I'm fully committed to this role, I'm the current global coordinator for the People's Health Movement. And I'm really committed to this. We are defending and promoting all of this throughout the world. Together with me, you will see that we have two great speakers, two very well-known speakers in our world. Our comrade Vivian Camacho Hinojosa. She is the current National Director of Ancestral Traditional Medicine within the Vice Ministry of Ancestral Traditional Medicine of the Ministry of Health of the plurinational state of Bolivia. She is also a high-level commissioner for the celebration of the 40th anniversary of the Alma Ata Conference. It was for primary attention in terms of health in the region of the Americas, led by the Pan American Health Organization. Vivi Camacho has also been the coordinator of health for the Bolivian peoples a representative of the Latin American coordination of the movement for people's health in the Andean region. She is a Quechua midwife and promoter of respectful births and ancestral midwifery in Bolivia. And I have to say as well that she's a doctor, she's a professional doctor trained in Belgium, but still her main focus of work has been leading and practicing traditional medicine in this beautiful indigenous country of Bolivia. She is also a communicator, member of the Abya Yala network. She is strongly committed to promoting her ancestral knowledge as a specialist in intercultural surgeries. So Vivian Camacho, welcome. You have the floor. We are ready, happy, and lovingly listening to you now. So you have the floor. Thank you so much, Roman. I'm going to be speaking in English so that I can make my presentation directly in English for our comrades in China.
First of all, I would like to give my greeting in my originary language. I belong to the Quechua nation in the plurinational state of Bolivia. Sumas puncha y cachun tukuikunapa, hatunapay kuitukuy gangunapa, nogasuti vivi Camacho, kai Bolivia, kolyasuyo manta tiakuni, hatunapay. That is my Quechua native language. I belong to the plurinational state of Bolivia, to the Quechua nation, and I do recognize and honor my ancestral roots. I am so honored to participate today with you because these efforts from the People's Health Movement has been done decades ago. As indigenous peoples, for us, even now, it is very restrictive to access to education, to access to learning another language. That's why I want to speak to you in English, because it's part of the struggle I have done in my life, to learn to communicate, to resist, to promote the respect for our ancestral traditions, for our ancestral wisdom. Even as a surgeon doctor inside academy, for us it's very necessary that even though you have passed through academy, you have not lost your root. We are still indigenous, struggling inside a world that continue colonizing, that continue taking our land, a colonized world, Western world, that want to impose its culture upon us. That's why I do encourage indigenous peoples in the world that are watching us now to remember, even though you have gone through university, you have never lost your ancestral inner wisdom, your ancestral roots. So I do want to start saying greetings and gratitude to People's Health Movement, to our comrade Roman Vega from Colombia, that wonderfully has introduced this conversation, and also to our comrades in China. So wonderful to reach to this moment when we can speak global South from global South, because we know we have answers. We need to listen to each other. We need to remember that our roots are millenary roots. We belong to millenary people. That's why I feel so honored to be representing Latin America today from Bolivia. And that is why I want to start first with this sacred fire. I have in my hands coca leaf, which is very sacred for us, agua de Florida, Florida water, and also oa, which is an ancient millenary plant from our territory. Because first, I want to honor the sacred places that we belong. I want to honor all the sacred spirits and the sacred territory we belong to. So with this sacred fire, please remember the ancestral roots of humanity. No matter where we are born, no matter what color our skin, no matter what language we speak, we all belong to Mother Earth. That's why with this sacred fire, I want to introduce these words and ask for permission to my ancestors, to my sacred places, to my grandfathers and grandmothers, to the ones that were struggling for us so we can have dignity. Even we are indigenous people. We belong to life, and we are facing racism, violence, exclusion in so many places, with so many ways in the world. That's why with this sacred little fire, with so much love and affection for my ancestors, I want to recognize all of your ancestors. I want to recognize and honor all the sacred land in the Americas region, in Asia, in Africa, in Oceania, in Europe. We all belong to life. We all belong to this sacred Mother Earth. That's why I want to share this fire with you. So with this, asking for permission for from our sacred territories, our sacred grandmothers, grandfathers, to our sacred guardians, from the spirits of the water, from the spirits of the earth, from the spirits of the air, from the spirits of the sacred fire, asking for permission, our sacred mountains, our sacred rivers, our sacred lakes, to the spirit of the animals, of the seeds, of the plants, every sacred creature that is sharing this time of life space here with us on earth. We are all brothers and sisters. We belong together. So with this introduction, with this sacred fire, I will start sharing my PowerPoint. Thank you so much for letting me introducing like that. So I have this PowerPoint that I want to share with you about ancestral wisdom for taking care of Mother Earth, for taking care of life, because we need to remember that our ancestral wisdom is alive, and that is why we are alive. And in this wonderful first session with China, with Asia, with different people, I have seen people from India connected as well, from Africa. Tomorrow you will hear our people from Africa, our brothers and sisters, to remember that our ancient traditions, our sacred ceremonies are still alive, because human spirituality, humanity has not only religions, it has deep, ancient, millenary spirituality that connect us and remember us that we belong to life, we belong to the spirit, sacred spirit of life, which we call in Quechua, Kausai Mama. Kausai means life. What makes you live, be alive today? Mama is our mother. We belong to sacred mother life. So I will start saying that with these two hands holding this little sprout, it's like us. We are the seeds. We have, our ancestors have been given the seeds. We are these little plants now being reborn on this earth once and again, because our ancestors have seeded the tears, the tears, the fire, the blood, because the tears and the blood they have suffered because of genocide, because of colonization, they are not in vain. It is because they want us to be in this life with dignity, with joy, with happiness. So I will share these slides with you, starting saying that health is a human right, not a merchandise. As People's Health Movement, I belong to People's Health Movement more than 15 years ago, and we are struggling because we do remember that when we have to struggle for health, we have to struggle for social justice, because in many places in the world, health is a commodity, And it is such a shame because we are struggling for health as human right, because no matter where you are born, if you have money or not, it's your human right to access to health. And governments must do this. If they don't do, we need to be strong, organize, mobilize, and defend the right to our health. That's why we are talking about social determination on health, which means social justice and dignity for our peoples. And we also are struggling for the right to healthy food. Otherwise, we won't have any health. We are struggling for healthy food because agrotoxics, because transgenics, because agro-industry, they don't care about people. They only care about money. They only care about the finance. And they are poisoning our seeds. They are poisoning our water, our air. That's why we are struggling for agroecology, why we are struggling for healthy food as human right for humanity, not for business corporations. And we need to remember what kind of health are we having now? I mean, what kind of health do we want to promote? Because we have this macrocultural dominant Western system, hegemonic system. The health system that we know now belongs to one monoculture, and this monoculture is related to health industry, to pharmaceutical industry corporations, to the weapon system, costumes, weapon systems, corporations, the warfare corporations, which are so related to agro-industry corporations. So all of these corporations, they only care about money. We need to remember that these corporations, they help each other because, for example, when we were facing as humanity the war in Vietnam, napalm was being upon people to burn the jungle. But this napalm, as soon as the war finished, this napalm was converted to glyphosate. Glyphosate now is oncogenic, is carcinogenic, recognized by the World Health Organization. That's why we need to remember that these corporations, they don't care about hunger, they don't care about healing disease, they only care about customers, they only care about people that can pay for their services. It is like that. If you have money, you will have your right. And we are struggling against this because we do recognize, we do deserve to be respected and honored as human beings, no matter where we are from. That's why beyond one monocultural way of view health, we do recognize that we are millions of people alive with different cultures alive today in the world. As Andean people, I want to share with you these little slides because we need to remember, for example, in these curved stones, it's 10,000 years of age. 10,000 years our people has lived this to remember us that we are millenary people. Our cultural resistance here in the Americas has more than 500 years of cultural resistance, but we are resisting colonization, genocide, the taking of our land. But we don't have 500 of history. Our history, our roots are more than 10,000 years before. That's why we need to remember that as millenary people, we have our ancient cosmovision alive. We have, for example, in this little drawing in the middle, you can see the sun, the moon, the stars, the plants, the animals. All of this is our family. All of this is the creatures that help you to go through life. That's why we need to remember that we belong to this cosmic universe, to this cosmic way of being in the world. It's not just philosophy, it's not just a way of academic thinking, it's how do you relate with life, it's how do you go along in your life relating to Father, Sun, Mother, Moon, to the animals and plants, because they are your brothers and sisters. and our sacred mother coca leaf, which is penalized in the world because of geopolitics in that time. This coca leaf is food and medicine for our people. Its sacred spirit is in Almama. So we need to remember we have our sacred places, our sacred land, our sacred plants alive today with us. This picture of the Callahuayas from Collasuyu. The ancient name of Bolivia is Collasuyu. We belong to Tawantinsuyu. Tawantinsuyu, the land of the Inca people, the people of the sun. Antisuyu, Contisuyu, Chinchasuyu, Collasuyu. Those are Quechua names. To remember, for example, Bolivia its name is Collasuyu. Colla means herb or medicine. Suyu means people. So we are the people of the medicine. These people in the picture in 1920 took quina quina, a herb for healing malaria, for healing in the Panama Channel, because they were suffering malaria. They were suffering this disease and they didn't have any other answer. That's why they had to call our indigenous healers over there. And that's why quina was taken from corporation and they made quinina that you know now as antimalaric treatment. But we know that our ancient traditions, our ancient system, healing systems, the knowledge of plants, it's so deep, but also we know that when corporations come, they take our knowledge, they take our wisdom, and they privatize and they merchandise this. That's biopiracy, and we are against this because the ancient knowledge of our people must be for community, for taking care of life, not for business. That's why we have healing herbs, we have our ancient traditions, we have our beautiful textiles all over Americas, all over Abya Yala. Abya Yala is our ancient name. We have our beautiful music, we have our beautiful ceremonies alive, because those are part of the healing systems. Ancestral medicine is not only about taking your herb instead of your pill. It's about respecting the land that you live in. It's about how do you relate with people, with community, with animals, with plants, with your ceremonies, with your sacred fires. How do you make this seeding and harvesting season changes? How do you share your food? Because sharing our food is ceremonial, is ancestral, is part of our identity. That's why during COVID-19, our people started sharing food with the one was passing hunger season. That's why we need to remember when we share food, we are sharing the love of Mother Earth and the love we have for each other. Our ancient traditional medicine take care of animals, plants, of water sources, of sacred people, of sacred places. That's why it is whole culture alive. It's not only plants or herbs, but it has to do with your food, with your ceremonies, with your respecting humble campesino people, because they produce food related directly to Mother Earth. We need to address this as go beyond capitalism, as go beyond economic domination of capitalist system, because capitalism is imposing that if you have money, you have food. But Mother Earth is so generous. As Mahatma Gandhi said, Mother Earth provides for anyone, but it's not enough for the greedy bastards of the corporative system, capitalist neoliberal system. That's why we are strong with this statement. We need to denounce and transform this, because each of our life is priceless. No, there won't be any repetition of yourself. We are so unique. We are historical people in this Mother Earth. That's why our life are priceless. That's why we need to promote dialogue between social justice for our people and epistemic justice with academy, because Western academy is continue racist. Western academy is still menospreciating, is depreciating our ancestral wisdom. That's why we are making this dialogue, to have epistemic justice with academy, because also academy is a struggle field. And we need to remember that diversity makes us grow, each of us. Cultural diversity, human diversity takes care of biodiversity, takes care of Mother Earth. And we need to remember that with tender care and love for each other, we will struggle, support, and resist, as we have been done during these last 500 years. That's why we send solidarity deeply to people resisting in their territories to colonization, like Palestine today. All our solidarity with people resisting, ancestral people resisting in their territories, because we have suffered these too. And our ancestral wisdom has to do with the equilibrium, with what you think, Alin Yacha in Quechua, a deep intelligence, clear, brilliant mind. It has to do with your heart, with good way, with your love, with good way of, you want to do things with love. And Alin Yachai, Alin Yachem from your mind, Alin Munai from your heart, and Alin Ruai from your hands. With a good thought, with good feelings, we can do good things. That is to be equilibrated. That has to do with honor your words, honor your thoughts, honor your actions. You have to be right person. You have to be very clever and honest and loving people to go on with ancestral traditions. That's why we need to remember that living well has to do with not Mother Earth. We don't, I mean, we are not the owners. She is our mother. We belong to her. That's why we need to go on with this health of Mother Earth. Otherwise, if we don't have health of Mother Earth, with healthy air, healthy water, healthy food, none of us will have health. That's why every culture has its own ways to heal themselves. Then we need to ask to each other, to whom do we want to look like? Aren't we showing as indigenous peoples in the world that we know how to live another way, how to dance another way, how to eat another way, how to dress another way, how to heal another way? We are ancestral traditions that have shown that we can survive with our wisdom. But also we do this advocacy between the dialogue of wisdom between Western modern medicine and also our ancestral traditions. That's why we need to address, as well as we have stated in our document, that decolonization and depatriarchalization are part of our struggle. Decolonization, to remember that we belong to millenary people, and depatriarchalization because as women in the world, we are still suffering violence and feminicides because we are women. We don't have our respect. We don't have our labor rights. We don't have access to education. We don't have different issues that patriarchy with colonialism has imposed in the world. That's why our ancient mothers, our grandmothers, they have taken care of ancestral wisdom, of taking care of life, of seeding, of harvesting, of our clothing, our textiles, our poetry, our music have been taken care historically for women. And we need to remember that we belong to the cycle of universe. We belong to the cycle of the sun, of the moon. That's why we have equinoxes and solstices, and every new moon, every full moon, we have ceremonies to remember that we belong to those cycles. We are part of this. That's why, for example, this November 1st and 2nd, in different places in the world, we have received the souls of our ancestors, because our ancestors are still in the spiritual world, giving us strength, giving us inspiration, giving us courage to overcome what we need to go on in this life. The ancient prayers of our grandmothers are still protecting us. The ancient prayers of our people are still with us. And this is a message of hope for all of you that are struggling today, for all of you having this climate crisis situation, this war crisis situation. When we have COVID pandemic, we only had our medicine, we only have our rituals, our plants, and we have survived because it is effective, because it is alive. That is why we are alive. And I have learned this beautiful song in Chiapas with ancestral healers that are health promoters. And it is like that. I will sing it in Spanish and then translate. Salud es dignidad, salud es vida, sin injusticia y sin humillación. Un pensamiento propio, un corazón, una comunidad libre y unida. Health is dignity. Health is life without injustice, without humiliation. Health is one only thought from a united community, one only heart, free and united. Imagine how wise is our people, how wise is our ancestral campesino, farmers, indigenous people in the world. If we have social justice, we have health, respecting each other without humiliating anyone, because we all deserve respect. Also respect to all the farmers, all the fishers, all the people working in the sea, working in the land, to bring food to our tables. It's because of you that you are suffering in the storms, that you are suffering when the dry comes or the flooding comes. You are still struggling to bring food to the people. It's because our farmers in the world that we have food. That's why they deserve the most respect. In Bolivia, we have promoted the law for traditional ancestral medicine that we are struggling to go on, because it's not easy against a system that is colonial, racist, and patriarchal. But we need to remember that we need to see each place, each ancient cosmovision. We need to remember that we can be solidarity with the difference and learn from each other, a complementation of each wisdom. I mean, Western modern medicine can be complementary with our ancestral traditional wisdom of health. And also during COVID-19, we have shown in different documents, I was part of this indigenous platform on COVID-19, and we have picked up from different places how they have healed themselves and protected themselves with ancestral traditions. One beautiful example, very iconic, is from the Shipibo Conejo people in the frontier of Peru and Bolivia, when they were taking herbs and plants from home to home, also helps and plants that all of us have done in our houses, with vapors, with preparations, infusions, but also they were taking healing, sacred chants. So your heart wants to be alive. That is why it's so important, our ancestral traditions, because it takes care of physical body, of mental health, and our deep spirituality. And as a midwife, I want to show you this beautiful slide, because we are giving birth to another phase of humanity. We will be born again as healing communities. We need to heal each other, take care of each other. We need to remember, no matter what color our skin, what language we speak, we belong to each other. That's why we want to struggle for all of us. It's not only for a little slice, it's for all of us. All of us deserve to live, not global north that is imposing this culture, imposing its production, imposing its market against our people, against our global south, against our people that is taking, they are being taken the land, they are taking the water, they are poisoning our food, our seeds. That's why we need to remember, we need to struggle together, because we all belong together. Global south merece respeto. We deserve respect. We deserve life. We deserve life with dignity. That's why I will finish my presentation. Remember that community is necessary. And I will present this beautiful hummingbird and these beautiful butterflies that remember the strength of our ancestors, the beauty they have seeded in life. The beauty, summa causai, is the most beautiful way of living. The most beautiful way of living is when my brothers and sisters have food, have shelter, when they are not having hunger, left alone, left behind, have to be, they have to die because of the war, because of the cold, because of the hunger. No, the beauty is when my heart is happy and flowering like this beautiful picture. Is my heart is happy when my brother, my sister is happy, has food, has its right to live in well, its right to health, to education, to access, to belong to community. We need to remember that this is the beauty that we are struggling for. Not violence, not revenge. We are struggling for life to go on. We are the change that we want to see, as Mahatma Gandhi said. We are struggling for life and dignity in the flowering of our people, because the flowering, now is the time of the flowering. Now, my brothers and sisters, is a historical time when we can speak up what we are, when we can speak up our ancient wisdom, because centuries ago we have been prosecuted and murdered and killed. Our ancestral people were murdered because they had this wisdom. Now we have the right to be alive. We have the right to share this with the world, and we need to struggle together, because the flowering of our wisdom is now, in this time of changes. When the crack, there is a crack, Mother Earth will make this little seed sprout. Now we are these beautiful sprouts of Mother Earth, because she is calling everyone to remember that we deserve life with dignity. It doesn't matter if you have money or not on the bank. We don't want to go to Mars to make tourism. We want to make life possible in this earth, not for the greedy capitalist bastards, but for all of us, but for all the humble people, for all the people struggling for the rights. That's why we need to face philanthrocapitalism. They cheat our people, saying, we will send you some money so you take care of this little part of land, but they are poisoning millions and millions of contaminants every day, inside water, inside air. And they want to make this tourism to Mars, and they want to make this beautiful Mother Earth without life. That's why we will struggle together. That's why I have agreed to share the dialogue with China, because China is doing beautiful things that we will hear later, especially saying that popular health, that has to do with popular power for the people inside our territories. As I belong to the indigenous media, I do belong to indigenous communication systems. We need to go on, because our indigenous radio are being silenced, but we will speak up no matter how many times they come and take us our things, they come and take us our lands, no matter if they come and take us our equipment from radio. Anyway, we will continue resisting as we have been done. Declaration of Alma-Ata more than 40 years ago stated that traditional medicine must be part of health systems. I do belong to this integrative system of Biblioteca Virtual en Salud, health virtual library from Pan American Health Organization. And we have ministries, universities, researchers that are showing that another health system is urgent and necessary. And last year in Gandhinagar in India, we were having with World Health Organization this first meeting of traditional ancestral medicine. We were gathered 140 countries in the world that are working now with ancestral tradition. So it's not only a favor of the system, it's our right to struggle for. And as Dr. Ernesto Guevara, our Che Guevara said, the first illness we have to eradicate is social injustice. As Dr. Allende, Salvador Allende, stated that we need to go on with these revolutions. That's why we are here for, as People's Health Movement, as part of Association of Latin America Social Medicine, as part of a United Network of Universities in Brazil, but especially as part of the People's Health Movement. Health is a human right, not a merchandise. Here we are in our fifth World Assembly. There is Roman and our comrades. We always support the struggle of our people. We support each other. We are not depending on corporations. Most of us, I have these 15 years worked voluntary without asking for anything, because I do believe this struggle for health is this struggle for life and dignity for humanity. We have done this beautiful march in our fifth World Health Assembly, and also remembering that we all belong together and health is a human right. I will remember our ancestors of People's Health Movement, one of our founder members, dear Safrullah Chaudhuri from Bangladesh. He made a beautiful structure with midwife, ancient midwifery in Bangladesh, because he was a social fighter as well. And with midwives, they reached a low, they could low the range, the rate of maternal-infantile deaths. So that's why ancestral wisdom and community health and struggling for people's health has to do with ancestral traditions as part of resistance. And we have Dr. Amit Sen Gupta from India that has passed away. Dear Dr. David Sanders from South Africa. Our dearmost Julio Monsalvo from Argentina. Dear Margarita Posadas from El Salvador. So those are part of our ancestors that inspire us to go on in life. If we will seed our life, because we will be the next ancestors generation, what kind of ancestors are you going to be? We will seed our bodies, our life, because another generation with beauty, with dignity, with prosperity for all of us will merge from humanity. In this little statue is Mother Earth, which remembers the Mother Earth from up, Hanahpacha, this Mother Earth, Kaipacha, and the Mother Earth of down, Ukupacha. This Mother Earth with these three heads remembers that all the cosmic forces are making us alive. It's not capitalism, it's not banks, it's not neoliberalism. Life is wiser and deeper, and it will give us courage. It will give us the pathways to go on and struggle for her, for mother life, for the next children to be born, to have the right to smell the flowers, to healthy food, to healthy water, to healthy earth. So you need to remember that even the next generation is sending us love and blessings. Even the next generation to be born in our dreams, they give us courage and they say, please go on, because life will succeed. Thank you so much.
Muchas gracias, querida Vivi, por estas sabias.
Thank you, Vivi, so much for these wise and loving and rebellious words that you've given us in this morning for Latin America and for the Caribbean, in this evening for China. Thank you, Vivi, indeed, for bringing from history, the history of resistance of our indigenous peoples. Thank you for bringing us all this narration towards the current times, the conflicts of war, of ecologic problems, social inequalities. You've been very intelligent in expressing all of that. So thank you for reminding us as well that our future will not be possible without a decolonizing struggle, an anti-imperialist and anti-capitalist struggle. And it will not be possible without a deep struggle against racism and patriarchy. So, Vivi, You said that we won't be able to have a better world without social justice and without environmental justice. So your wise words are really very, very welcome here. So thank you, BV, for your fire. And thank you for that beautiful, beautiful energy of showing what life is and how to build our life for the future. So thank you indeed. Now we will give the floor to our comrade, Jade Margaret Tsui. She is an associate professor at the Institute for Rural Revitalization Strategy at the Southwest University in Chongqing, China. She is also a founding member of the Global University for Sustainability. Jade is co-editor of a book series, the Global University for Sustainability book series. And she's also the co-editor of another book series, Global South Thoughts book series. She's a co-program coordinator of the South Forum on Sustainability and on the South-South Dialogue about Sustainability. Jade has long academic trajectory, and I know that she also has a long trajectory of activist, as an activist, trying to create a better world. So let's all enjoy her words, her presentation, as we did with Bivi. So let's make the most of her huge knowledge about traditional Chinese medicine, its hope for life to create a better knowledge and to rescue the traditions, the deepest historical traditions of the struggle of the Chinese people. So welcome, Jade, and you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Roman, and thank you very much, Vivian presentation. And I also prepare a PowerPoint. So wait a minute. And today my topic will be cultural resilience of traditional Chinese medicine. And I will first map how traditional Chinese medicine, TCM, was utilized during the pandemic. Then we visit the history of subjugation of TCM in modern China. Although this millenary tradition was subsumed in 1 century under the powerful Western scientific discourse and imposition, TCM is still vibrant at the grassroots level. Encountering Eurocentric mentality, it emerges again and again, particularly in several pandemics such as encephalitis B in the 1950s, malaria in the 1970s, and SARS of 2003. On 25th of March in 2020, the State Council Information Office of China presented the important role of TCM and a list of effective drugs in COVID-19 prevention and control, and reported that a total of 74,187 COVID-19 patients, or 91.5% of the then total confirmed cases nationwide, have been treated with TCM. Clinical observations showed that the free medicines and free medical formulas, i.e. the free medicines means 精华清感颗粒、 莲花清瘟颗粒和胶囊，血鼻镜注输液 ，and as well as the three formulas, that is, 清肺排毒汤、花式败毒方、宣肺败毒方 which are novel preparations developed from existing formulas for the treatment of COVID-19, approved by the state, had an overall effective rate of over 90% in relieving symptoms, preventing mild and common cases from developing into severe cases, improving the recovery rate and reducing fatality rates, and boosting the recovery of patients during their rehabilitation process. This is the details information of the free medicine and free medical formulas. And not only is the Chinese medicine recognized as scientific, effective, and low cost, but so are the ancient and popular health exercise, such as Tai Chi, silken movements, 3-1-2 meridian exercise, acupuncture, massage, and acupressure point application. This is just one example of opportunities for subjugated knowledges and practices to be serviced as both a critique of and an alternative to dominant Western discourses, practices, and institutions. According to official statistics, as of 31st of May in 2020, the average expense for treating by Western medicines of a confirmed patient was about US dollar 3,380, and for a severe case is about US dollar 22,000. In contrast, one course of treatment of 3 days with Qing Fei Pai Du decoction costs only around US dollar 15. From the 1st to 9th edition of COVID-19 diagnosis and treatment protocol, which was issued by the National Health Commission in March 2022, proper application of TCM was advised. Significantly, the 9th edition was the first time the use of acupuncture was approved, but also the first time an oral Western medicine, Pfizer Paxlovid, for a 5-day course was approved. The price of the latter was US dollar 530. In other words, it was 35 times the price of Qing Fei Pai Du decoction. In the same month, the first batch of 21,200 boxes of Paxlovid was imported to Shanghai. WHO held an expert meeting on the evaluation of traditional Chinese medicine in the treatment of COVID-19 from 28 February to 2nd of March in 2022. It commended the role of TCM in the treatment of COVID-19 and recommends to WHO to facilitate international clinical trials to further evaluate the potential benefits and safety of TCM for the treatment of persons with COVID-19 across the care continuum. In contrast, after 1 month, WHO endorsed the use of Pfizer Paxlovid, which was also included in the WHO pre-qualification list. In parallel to the philosopher Liang Suming's statement that Chinese history over the past 100 years is a history of rural destruction, the last century is also a history of the destruction of traditional Chinese medicine. Its significance gains recognition only when alternative treatments and therapies are being sought to overcome encephalitis B during the 1950s, to defeat malaria during the 1970s, SARS in 2003, and today to fight COVID-19. There are external and internal factors contributing to the going under of TCM with the introduction of Western medicine. Culturally, the West was seen as superior after its military victories in China since the mid-19th century, starting with the Opium War. The missionaries supported Britain armed coercion against China. Peter Parker was one of the leading American missionaries of the period. It was said that the Parker opened China to the Gospels at the point of Lancet. China's modernization process was embraced by intellectuals studying in Japan, the United States, and Europe. With the pretext of modernization, scientificization, and internationalization of TCM, Rockefeller's endeavor in 1927 was directed to eliminate TCM and to monopolize the Chinese pharmaceutical industry with Western medicine from the United States. During the 1920s, the Rockefeller Foundation made moves into China. As recounted by Hans Rusch, Rockefeller had always had a particular interest in China, where Standard Oil was almost the sole supplier of gasoline and oil for the lamps of China. So he put money into establishing the China Medical Board and building the Peking Union Medical College, playing the role of the Great White Father, who has come to dispense knowledge on his lowly children. The Rockefeller Foundation invested up to 45 million US dollar into westernizing, actually corrupting Chinese medicine. According to Richard Brown, in China, as throughout the world, the Rockefeller philanthropists soon concluded that medicine and public health by themselves were far more effective than either missionaries or armies in pursuing the same ends. In China, the Rockefeller Foundation removed the Peking Union Medical College from missionary society control and established it under the foundation direction. In China, the Philippines, Latin America, the West Indies, Ceylon and Malaya, Egypt, and other countries, the Rockefeller Foundation International Health Commission organized, financed, and direct major campaigns against the hookworm. The indigenous government were seen largely as vehicles for penetrating political, economic, and cultural control by U.S. corporations and agencies. In China, for example, the Rockefeller Foundation Peking Union Medical College was conducted entirely by their own staff from New York and a local office in Peking. Acceptance of European and American medical theories and practice implied submission to the authority and superiority of this foreign country. And before the 1949, under the Kuomintang government, TCM is systematically repressed through administrative measures. In July 1912, the Ministry of Education held the Conference of Education Conference and issued the new decree of the Republic of China, which did not include TCM education in the national education system. In 1928, Liu Ruiheng, former dean of the Rockefeller Foundation Peking Union Medical College and former director of the Chinese Medical Association, became the Vice Minister of Ministry of Health. In February 1929, Liu moderated the first meeting of the Central Committee of Health, in which the ordinance of abolition of old medicine to remove obstacles to medical affairs, proposed by Yu Yunxiu, was passed. This was the so-called abolition of Chinese traditional medicine case. All 17 committee members were non-TCM practitioners. When the Communist Party of China took power in 1949, the Rockefeller Foundation shifted its focus to Japan, India, and Latin America. However, the hegemony of Western medicine prevailed in China. The number of Western medicine practitioners increased from 20,000 in 1950 to 1.57 million in 2004, an increase of 70 times. In contrast, TCM practitioners were 270,000 to 300,000 in 1950 and only 270,000 in 2004. In 2022, of the total number of medical practitioners, only around 6.38% were TCM practitioners, and of the total hospital, only about 15.9% were TCM hospitals. However, in the 1950s, Mao Zedong gave the famous instruction that Chinese medicine is a great treasure trove that should be vigorously explored and improved. From 1955 to 1960, the Ministry of Health organized many classes for Western medical practitioners to take leave from their jobs to study Chinese medicine and systematically learn theories and treatment techniques of Chinese medicine. Chinese Medicine College were also established in Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, and Chengdu. Moreover, during that period, there was the rise of barefoot doctors, who were half-time farmers and half-time doctors. Under the limited conditions, they would patrol around paddy fields and mountains and carry along a small medicine box in which there were simple medicine, tubes, and pills, as well as a silver needle and a handful of herbs, 一根银针,一把草药. They were mainly TCM practitioners who contribute a lot to the primary health care of the peasant majority. TCM has been domestically subdued, and the subjugation is not only to Western medicine within China, but to Western medicine hegemonic in the West. The United States Food and Drug Administration, FDA, has become the supreme adjudicator, deciding what is and what is not to approve. One example is the 莲花清瘟 capsule, which was proven effectively, especially when early symptoms of COVID-19 developed. After SARS outbreak in 2003, the capsule was developed by Wu Yiling from the Chinese Academy of Engineering, who estimate from the sale of the capsule since the COVID-19 outbreak that up to August 21st in 2020, 80 million person times had taken 莲花清瘟prescriptions. Yet, how has been the promotion of this medicine abroad? Early in 2015, it entered phase 2 of the clinical trial of the FDA, and there has not been further progress. Europe continues to carry out strict regulations on it, and it is banned from clinical trials in hospital. The global pharmaceutical industry continues to grow at a rapid pace. Pfizer made biopharma's industry history in 2022, becoming the first company to ring up $100 billion in revenue in 1 year. In 2022, the lucrative profit was shared by the top 10 transnational pharmaceutical corporations from the US, Europe, and Japan. That is Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, Roche, Merck and Company, Abya, Novartis, Bristol Myers Squibb, Sanofi, AstraZeneca, GSK. Not even Chu Yoyo's awards of Nobel Prize in Physiology of Medicine in 2015 could add much weight to TCM. From the account of her story, we can see how she has worked on TCM in her research and discovered artemisinin for treating millions of malaria patients. Yet, Nobel Committee members, Hans Forsberg, reiterate, it's very important that we are not giving a prize to traditional medicine. The award was only for scientific work that had been inspired by it. It is another long story as to patenting of artemisinin and how it has fallen from Chinese hands to the grip of foreign pharmaceutical transnationals. In her Nobel lecture, Discovery of Artemisinin, a gift from traditional Chinese medicine to the world, Chu Youyou admired the ancient wisdom, recognized the teamwork, as well as expressed a will to defend artemisinin as a common good. Historically, it has changed from a medical solution to malaria during the Vietnam War of the 1970s into a gift for all human beings. Ironically, the discovery of artemisinin became a profit for Novartis, one of the largest pharmaceutical companies based in Basel, Switzerland. The story of the patent went back to 1994. Chinese representatives reached an agreement with the former Swiss company, that is now Novartis, on the international cooperation and transfer of the patent of the drug and register the patent anti-malaria drug for sale in the international market. The agreement meant that China received a royalty and gave up the right to sales in the international market, but Novartis enjoyed the benefits. Afterward, Novartis has formed its unique patent barriers in the field of compound artemisinin patents through a series of ways such as purchasing R&D. Chinese company developed overseas markets, but everywhere is subject to Novartis. From 1999 to the end of 2002, the annual royalty paid by Novartis to China was merely 4%. According to the World Intellectual Property Organization, there were hundreds of patents related to artemisinin, and the applicants were mainly concentrated in countries such as United States, Europe, and India. Although China has been developing this for decades, the number of foreign patents applications for artemisinin is still only a handful, and the share of Chinese manufactured artemisinin in the international market is still less than 1%. TCM is a philosophy different from Eurocentric capitalist logic based on the double exploitation of nature and the poor. It demonstrates the way, or Tao, which signifies the rightful path that human beings must follow to live harmoniously with nature and to build reciprocal social relations. A human being must lead a self-disciplined lifestyle and always put nature and other people in one's minds. It means to return to nature and to consider the suffering poor. This is fundamentally against the logic of capital. As Deng Tietao, a well-known national TCM practitioner, remarks, Chinese medicines concern about preventive treatment of disease, which is different from Western medicine. If pharmaceutical companies promote preventive treatment of disease, how can they sell their drugs? If a disease can be completely cured, how can the pharmaceutical industry make profits? Thus, the social system is very important. Capitalist society cannot allow any medicine with the effect of a complete cure. The more curable medicine appears, the more intolerance capitalist society exercises. In the long history of subjugation, TCM has struggled to exist. Its remarkable resilience is rooted in taking a different path from the Eurocentric mentality and in getting popular support. The following two cases demonstrate that TCM proves its effectiveness in the pandemic of Hepatitis B and SARS, where modern medicines were in crisis. In the 1950s, there was an outbreak of Hepatitis B in most areas of China. According to statistics from the 1950s to 1954, a total of 2,266 patients with Hepatitis B were found in Beijing, including 555 deaths, with an average mortality rate of 25.16%, an average cases of 18.66 per 100,000 people. In the early years of New China, TCM practitioners were not allowed to participate in the treatment of disease in hospitals, but because Western medicine was unable to do nothing, some places changed their thinking. For example, in Jinan City, Shandong Province, Chinese and Western doctors were organized to treat the patients, and the patients were divided into Chinese medicine groups and Western medicine groups for observation and treatment. The results showed that all 12 patients in TCM groups were cured, and none of them died. In 1955, the Ministry of Health of Hebei province decided to promote the exercise of Chinese medicine in the treatment of encephalitis B throughout the country. During the outbreak of SARS in 2003, Deng Tietao and 7 other TCM doctors wrote a petition letter to the CPC, the Communist Party of China leadership, to apply TCM in Beijing after they got successful cases in Guangdong province when compared with the groups treated by Western medicine. The Guangdong Provincial Hospital of Traditional Chinese Medicine treated 103 cases of clinically diagnosed SARS, 70% of which were serious cases, with a mortality rate of 6.5%, which was lower than the 10 to 15% mortality rates announced by the WHO. The first affiliated hospital of Guangzhou University of Traditional Chinese Medicine treated a group of 45 clinically diagnosed SARS patients with fever, and the TCM intervention achieved 4 no's of cure, referring to no deaths, no transfers, no complications, and no medical staff invasion. The second affiliated hospital admitted 112 people, except for the first batch of 7 deaths. All of them were cured and discharged with an average hospitalization of time of less than 5 days. During the pandemic, it was proven that the best way to deal with crisis was to mobilize the whole community. An individual or even a single country cannot tackle the global health crisis. Therefore, people try to revisit ancient philosophy, traditional medicine, and cultural values of cooperation, rather than principles of individualism and competition, and Western science and medicines. The experience of mutual support in daily practices during pandemic disasters offered us some opportunities to negotiate with capitalist logic. It comes out due to the pressure of collective survival. The power of community mobilization is proved both in rural and urban communities. The virus across the boundaries of class, gender, race, religion, and sexuality. Our fallback plan with support is to rely on a community. It has induced discussions about strengthening the role of the government in the basic healthcare system. Everything is reduced to the basics, that is food, health, and survival. Some people urged for the right to health. We would say that it is rather the right to survival. It is a matter of life and death. COVID-19 proves an opportunity for grassroots efforts to engage in building an alternative social fabric to recover people's rights to healthcare and medical knowledge production. In the life and death struggle, more and more people are becoming politicized by confronting the problems of expensive Western medicine and commodified healthcare. It is also an opportunity for more people to revisit traditional Chinese medicine and to seek alternatives that value life over profit. The resilience of traditional Chinese medicine is rooted in long cultural tradition of people's practices on the ground. It demonstrates a culture of gift-giving. It believes in the harmony between humans and nature. It cherishes the reciprocity of social relations. These are always the basics of cultural sustainability for community survival in times of plague. In the last slide, I will show you the Chinese poster of the TCM, of the TM traditional medicine lecture series, you'll find that this is the shape of gold. In our history, gold signifies a wise man, a TCM practitioner with very excellent medical knowledge, but he also to save while carrying the gold, it means it contains traditional medicine, but also it signifies to save the world, particularly the suffering poor. So let us continue to fight for the TCM and TM in the Global South. Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias, Jade.
Thank you very much, Jade. Thank you very much for this very rigorous and very intelligent conference that you have given on TCM. I want to highlight 3 fundamental elements from your presentation, Jade. First of all, the way in which you show the effectiveness and the efficiency of the treatments of TCM in everyday circumstances of endemic diseases, but also in situations that we might call like public health emergencies, such as pandemics. I believe that these are very clear examples that you have given. Second, you have shown that the costs of these treatments, of these medical treatments through TCM, comparing them to the business and the profit making of the transnational pharmaceutical industry, they are clearly much more convenient for patients, the costs for the population at large, because of their low prices, comparing them to the prices of pharmaceutical companies who dominate the world. You have also very, very clearly shown and told us about the strategies used by the imperial power of capitalism and the so-called modern medical science to marginalize TCM and to impose the domination of Western medicine in China, starting with these philanthro-capitalist foundations such as the Rockefeller Foundation, who's denouncing we must replicate, because the same story has been repeated in our countries. Rockefeller Foundation has been an instrument of cultural domination, scientific domination, of imposing biomedicine and of destruction of traditional medicine. This is a reality. But other imperial instruments disqualifying of our ancestral medicine, such as, for example, the FDA in the US, or even the Nobel Prize process itself, because disqualifying traditional medicine to justify the delivering of a prize is something that we should clearly reject all over the world. You have also told us that medical power and the power of transnational companies join together in imposing its cultural domination and its business in the face of the advantages, the clear advantages of traditional medicine. And I would like to finally highlight this philosophical element that you mentioned at the end about traditional medicine. We are facing a philosophy of life that teaches us 2 things that are very important. First of all, that traditional medicine gives us the values and the principles to teach us how to live in a world that is humane and that it has to do with mutual reciprocity. And in the second place, you also tell us that TCM also gives us the values and principles to learn how to live in equilibrium, in balance, in harmony with nature. These are two very powerful arguments about the importance of TCM that should guide our struggles and our what we search for as peoples of the global south that are looking for emancipation, facing the domination of our knowledge, the imposition of capitalism, and the exclusion of our ancestral knowledge. We embrace the lessons that you have conveyed from the glorious Chinese people whose struggle continues, and also the representatives of TCM. Thank you very much, Jade, for this contribution that you have made, essential in this morning in Latin America and this evening in China. This has been a very absolutely rich scenario of two experiences in the world, in Latin America and the Caribbean, and in China, in the field of traditional medicine. Thank you very much for your participation. Thank you, Jade. I have tried to look for questions in the chat box, but I only see praise in the chat box. Praise and thanks, and gratitude, rejoicing and happiness for this wonderful dialogue that we have had and we have hosted today. I don't see a question yet. So at least via chat, we don't have any questions, but I do want to ask a question, both to Vivi and to Jade in this scenario, in this South-South dialogue. I want to ask you about traditional medicine. What reflections do you extract, do each of you extract, when you have been listening to each other? What reflection, Jade, comes up when you listen to Vivi's presentation, and vice versa? Vivi, what is your reflection after listening to Jade's presentation? What lessons have you learned? What reflections can you draw from these two experiences of traditional medicine in the world? What broad themes or topics about in relation to the reflections on ancestral traditional knowledge related to health and medicine? If there are no other questions in the chat, maybe after responding to this question, we can close the conference. I would give the floor now to Jade.
I would like to promote Vivian into the panel to be panelist, because she is coming. Because I have a question for Vivian. I'm very impressed by her excellent presentation. And I would like to know about the concept of the Abya Yala, this ancient concept instead of Latin America, right? And because I find quite a lot of friends from Latin America use this concept as kind of mobilizing to promote a kind of Latin America integration. So could you elaborate more? And given the current context, I find the barriers in the integration of Latin America. For example, recently, Lula, Brazil President Lula declined Venezuela government to enter the BRICS. And also the during the Venezuela under the regime of Chavez, there's a practice of the barter. For example, Venezuela oil exchanged for Cuba doctor service. This kind of solidarity, and I find there's difficulties to promote the integration of Latin America in today's changing geopolitical landscape, particularly the U.S. president now, the new elected Trump. This the rise of fascism. So to what extent, how the concept of Abya Yala can become a powerful, the concept to achieve a new stage of Latin America integration, or Yala integration, or solidarity? Yeah, this is my question. Thank you.
For us, Abya Yala, this concept comes from the Kuna people in frontier between Colombia and Panama. Kuna people have preserved the ancient name of the continent. That is why we name, recalling them as Abya Yala, which means the land of fertility, prosperous, fecundity. Abya Yala, it's like a beautiful land. That is why we name ourselves, remembering the ancient name of our continent. We are not Americas, from colonization, but now, with the colonization process, we are trying to remember our ancestral identity and starting by the name. And Abya Yala is the continent, from the top of the continent to the tail of the continent. So Abya Yala comprehends all of our territory, and all of our territories are still preserving indigenous peoples, indigenous lands in every country in this continent. That is why the calling of Abya Yala reunite us to remember the ancestral identity of who we are. In this concept, Abya Yala, you can find the diversity together. That is why we use Abya Yala to name ourselves, not as Americans, but as Abya Yala, the people that come from the beautiful land. And each language has the different words to say people. Para decir gente, to say people, it's like runa in Quechua. It's like che in Mapuzungun. People, la palabra gente, people, you are people, you are a person when you are together. When you are integrated with your community. You are a person when you complement yourself with another ones. Otherwise, you are not complete. That's why Abya Yala as solidarity and integration concept must be promoted, and we need to remember continually this, because Abya Yala is the proposal to go on beyond colonialism. Abya Yala is the proposal to go with anti-imperialism and anti-fascism in our struggle, in our daily lives. As you mentioned, so necessary to face fascism, because fascism is the denial of diversity, the denial of life itself. That's why we struggle fascism. That's why we denounce fascism. But how is our way to struggle against this? Is uniting, is this dialogue, is again calling back to our basic basis organizations, to people organized in the countryside, to people organized in their own territories. In that way, we can build solidarity. We can build solidarity beyond governments, from peoples to peoples. That is why our People's Health Movement remember that people have this power united, power to the people, as Black Panther Party organized in the US. I hope Black Panther Party goes back to life, or Black Panther Party in different places in the world, because they have organized to struggle to defend the right of their people to live. And we are organizing these people's health in people's hands, in our people's health movement, because from peoples to peoples, not from government to government, because governments, they have so many awful issues inside, but from people to people, with honesty, with dialogue, with integration, with solidarity, with integrity, I know we can make it happen. That's why People's Health Movement is struggling in these global South-South dialogues and approaching to you. I hope we go on with this. Tomorrow we will hear Africa and Asia. We will hear also India. So we need to get this together. I mean, if governments cannot do, people will do this. Thank you so much.
Gracias, Vivi, por la
Thank
respuesta.
you, Vivi, for that answer. So, yes, we are here. I'm here in a different scenario, but we are all reflecting about the sacred. So, yeah, we can all hear that. We are all, I mean, I'm here in the territory of the Iku or Arhuaco indigenous peoples of Sierra Nevada de Santa Marta in Colombia. So this is a beautiful place to reflect as well, for reflection. There are some questions now for both of you, for Jade and for Vivi. I'm seeing that in the chat. The first question says, how can we make a training process or to build more capacities or more knowledge in the traditional medicine field? Second question, which are the experiences of interculturality among the systems of traditional and Western medicine in Bolivia and in China? Maybe those two questions, we can start by addressing them because they are interesting. Oh, and one more. They ask, do you think it is possible to have a coordination of the medicine services, that is to say, the traditional and the Western medicine systems, for a better quality of life of humanity? Okay, so these are just some of the questions that I'm seeing here in the chat. So I will give the floor to both of you so that by answering these questions, we can wrap up the dialogue. So maybe Jade, do you want to start? We have the option, do we have the option to continue building capacities in traditional medicine? In that case, what programs, what trainings, what can we do? And then, which is the experience of interculturality, or intercultural cooperation between, for example, the traditional and the Western methods?
I think I will start from a personal story. During the pandemic, I because of lockdown, and I really use the 莲花清瘟. That means the TCM, and also I also have good I mean it is effective, at least on my body, and also during that period, I start to read the history of TCM. So I shift my research interest about the health, about the medicine, about the traditional Chinese medicine. So and also I also try to attend some classes about the acupuncture and also practices on my body. And in China, or in Hong Kong, China, is also quite popular. We have free access to the TCM clinics and also the herbs, so it's not difficult. However, in the dominant in popular, the culture and practice, TCM is really rooted. But in dominant mentality, it still need to be revisited and recognized. As I showed you the statistics, and because of the COVID-19, the Chinese government also tried to promote or strengthen the importance of TCM. And as I mentioned, it is because of the crisis we find the possibilities. And personally, because of the crisis of COVID-19, I revisit our ancient knowledges. So in that level, I think you start from the basic, that means your daily practice. And this is my advice. And the next step, because of the TCM or research on TCM, and we start the dialogues and also the organizing some webinars with the friends and colleagues from the Global South, and also from the progressive intellectuals from the Global North. For example, we organize the South-South Forum on Sustainability, and some themes is about the health, and we invite Nicoletta from Italy, and also we invite the Remy Herrera from France. He has rich research about the Cuban healthcare system. So we have colleagues from the progressive colleagues from the Global North, but on the other hand, we also have the colleagues from the Global South, from India, from the Kerala, France. They practice the Ayurveda, and so in that process, we find many colleagues and friends also revisit the ancients, the philosophy of the medical knowledge, but not only the so-called the medical, but the kinds of alternative ways to capitalism. So in 1 year by 1 year, we build up some networks and dialogues. So now we work with the People's Health Movement, and we hope the next step we will promote the, at least in my academic area, I think we need to promote through the publication and also videos, because we have the produce videos on social media in mainland China, and also the promote the research, academic research about the TM in the Global South for a wider audience. So we plan to produce more in Chinese, English, and Spanish. That means we can build up in the academic knowledge production. We can build up and let it become more influential, not only in academic area, but also the policy making. And next year will be the 70th anniversary of Bandung conference, which is originally held in 1955 in Bandung city in Indonesia. This is the new awakening of the Global South, and paved the way for the non-aligned movement. That is the far alternative to the two camps, the powerful two camps, the US and the Soviet. That means how to be independent. So we hope in the next year we can continue to organize more dialogues. Tomorrow we have webinar about the India and South Africa. We hope next year we have more the webinars about the different experience of the TM in the Global South. And through this kind of a networking, we can join together and work together and understand each other more. This is the base of solidarity, I think. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, Jade. Very clear answer, and it was a pleasure. So let's give the floor to Vivi now to see what we can do to continue this kind of process to build more capacities of those people who are working in the traditional medicines field. And I mean capacities not only in terms of practice, to practice traditional medicine, but also for the production or the research in the field of traditional medicines based on the knowledge that we already have, and which is the experience of interculturality, that is to say, between Western and traditional medicine from your point of view, Vivi. Oh, I think she dropped her connection. Oh, she was here. Well, I cannot see her anymore. Okay, well, let's try to wait to see if she can log in again. So last question for you, Jade, in the meantime. Maybe you can also give us your opinion about the possibilities that we have about cooperative projects, like joint projects between China and the Movement for People's Health in terms of research or the production of traditional medicines. Which do you think are the options? You actually participated in the public pharmaceutic project that fosters the health of the peoples. This project talks about Western medicines on the one hand, but we are also promoting the inclusion of traditional medicine there in this public pharmaceutical or community pharmaceutical project. So how do you think we can work together for research and for production for the traditional medicine to become more widespread?
At that moment, I think we will try our best to identify more Chinese TCM practitioner join our project. That means we try to identify different sectors of Chinese society. Yeah, because I'm academic researchers, but we also want to include the TCM practitioner into our project.
Great, great. Thank you, Jade. I'm not sure whether Vivi has been able to log in again. I'm not sure if she will. Oh, such a pity. Such a pity. I think that she might be having, connection problems. So I think that we will wrap up now.
I would like to remind you that we are going to publish this exchange between the Abya Yala, as Jade has said, and China. We will have videos about the conference, and we have two documents, Vivi's and Jade's, that we can make public in the form of articles so that each one of you can read. You can read the content of this exchange calmly. And of course, we will find a way for these documents and the videos to reach each and every one of you. We must maintain contact in our organization as a network. I would like to now invite you all to tomorrow's conference, which will be an exchange between traditional medicine in Africa and in India. We are going to be hearing from two work teams in this field who have also been preparing to establish a dialogue, a reflection, and a search for a common path from the global south that can enable us to strengthen our fraternal ties of cooperation and solidarity as peoples that seek to build a better future for all of us and for planet Earth. I would like to thank the team of colleagues and comrades that from the organization side and the technical side have made this conference possible today. I would also like to thank our interpreters that have helped in a very important way to convey from the different languages the messages that we wanted to convey in this conference today. Thank you very much, Jade. Thank you, Vivi. Thank you, colleagues and comrades. The struggle continues. We will not lower our emancipatory intentions based on traditional medicine and the protection of our Mother Earth and the future of all living beings on the planet. Thank you all very, very much.